would you take?
Jerry Judy. He's the most technically gifted receiver that I've seen in a very long time.
That's what's happening. And I think what has been so remarkable, I think, to those of us who have been in the science fields for so long is how important behavioral change is and how amazing Americans are in adapting to and following through on these behavioral changes. And that's what's changing the rate of new cases, and that's what will change the mortality going forward, because now we're into the time period of full mitigation that should be reflected within the coming weeks of decreasing mortality. I mean, that's what we really hope to see. We are impressed by the American people, and I think models are models. I've always worked on validating. I spent my life validating models all over the world, and that's why we do surveys and surveillance, and we make sure that what we think is right is right.
DB is taught to wherever he feels pressure, Skip, he pivots that way. Jerry Judy releases outside, knowing he wants to run an out-breaking route. He tugs on the DB's inside shoulder. The DB spins to the inside. He breaks out and is wide open. He didn't get the
plays bigger and plays stronger than Jerry Judy, even though he's just a little bit bigger than Jerry.
Campaign going on this year. Until a few hours ago, in fact, the Democratic primaries were still in progress. But now it's done, at least officially. This morning, Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race.
Et l'autre, qu'est-ce que c'est? Je dirais le bourguignon. Moi, je suis assez cuisine traditionnelle, hein. Donc le bœuf bourguignon. Ouais.
Quel est votre plat français préféré?
Oh là là, steak frites.
Steak et frites.
La raclette?
Alors maintenant, vous allez nous dire qu'est-ce que c'est la raclette, s'il vous plaît?
C'est un plat avec du fromage, des pommes de terre et du lardon.
Soit il y a un appareil raclette en rond où chacun met...
You didn't even think Russell Wilson was good 3 years ago, but now you're going to say he's the all-decade quarterback? Aaron Rodgers won 2 MVPs. He easily could have won 3 and 4. I mean, he came in second, I believe, 2 or 3 times in the decade. He's been to 4 NFC championship games. He had one of the greatest Super Bowl performances we've ever seen in this decade. He was a champion in this decade. He can't help that his tight end couldn't catch a onside kick.
From the all-decade team, they have Tyreek Hill as a punt returner. How many punts has he really returned?
Thursday, 1:15 a.m. This was supposed to be Knock With Me, a song that I really like from back in the day. The bass is, I think, the right notes, but the riff and the chords I used to play, I remember there was a special little discovery with those chords. So I kind of knew I wanted to figure that out tonight, but I thought I would be, I took a try on doing Knock With Me for anybody that cares. But anyways, so I won't call this Knock With Me because of that, because it's not close enough, I don't think, to the other one. So I'm going to call this Ride With Me, based on the last little voiceover that you heard. Forgive me for that. I don't mean to offend anybody. The sounds of sex.
Dans la nourriture, dans le vocabulaire des vêtements, il y en a vraiment beaucoup. Ça, c'est les deux. Les vêtements, c'est les choses qui se différencient beaucoup. Aussi, les mots pour tout ce qui est dans l'étui à crayon. Donc, en France, par exemple, ils vont dire c'est une question un peu difficile, c'est est-ce qu'on parle encore d'indépendance au Québec?
Vice President Biden, and the path toward victory is virtually impossible. And so today, I am announcing the suspension of my campaign.
So that's it for Sanders. He's 78 years old. He will never be the president. But he did leave his mark. For 2 cycles in a row, Bernie Sanders evoked panic at the highest levels of the DNC. Twice in a row, Democratic Party...
The head of the World Health Organization today warned against politicizing. I agree with that. And he said that consequence of this politicization could actually create more body bags. It's a pretty vivid image. I mean, what do you believe the consequences of the U.S. pulling out its funding of the WHO?
Well, I think when you say more body bags, I think we would have done... and he would have been much better serving the people that he's supposed to serve if they gave a correct analysis. I mean, everything was, I said, China-centric. Everything was going to be fine, no human to human, keep the borders open. He wanted me to keep the borders open. I closed the borders despite him, and that was a hard decision to make at the time.
In terms of the economy, what if you urge Americans to go back to work and they don't listen to you? Would you leave that up to the governors, to businesses, to citizens to decide when it's safe to stop social distancing?
Well, when you say they don't listen, I think they're going to listen. They want to go back. Everybody wants. They're going stir crazy. They've been in those houses and those apartments, and they've done a great job. Again, when you look, the question was just asked about how we doing compared to projections. Those were just original projections.
And how about Tom Brady? I've said in the past, and this was an idea that MDS first tripped over, that Tom Brady could be in the Hall of Fame 2 different times, pre-2008, post-2008, and Tom Brady making it onto 2 all-decade teams, one of the unanimous selections for the decade of the 2010s. Not a surprise. He's the first quarterback to make 2 all-decade teams, and only 29 players have ever done that, where they've made the all-decade team twice.
So when he says politicizing, he's politicizing. That shouldn't be. But look, we spend $450 billion, $452 billion, almost $500 billion last year, hundreds of billions in previous years. And they got to do better than that. They got to do better. When you talk about politics, I can't believe he's talking about politics when look at the relationship they have to China.
This country? Could he find his car in a 3-tiered parking garage? Could he navigate a salad bar? And by the way, what exactly is his position on the coronavirus pandemic? Those are the mysteries Democrats now face. Biden has been virtually invisible for the last month. That's not an accident. Joe Biden on camera means more moments like this.
Best players, if not the very best player in NFL history. There were 8 total unanimous selections on this year's, or in this decade's all-decade team. Tom Brady, Adrian Peterson, Joe Thomas, Marshall Yanda, J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, and Justin Tucker. None of those are a surprise, Chris. All of those guys are deserving not only to be on the all-decade team, but to be unanimous selections.
Yeah, unanimous selections, and that list right there, they're like, that's unanimous first, they're first ballot Hall of Famers to me too.
They've been shipped overseas to China. Chinese students were already flooding America's schools and research labs, crowding out America.
Let's go over a couple of wide receivers the Broncos might look to in either rounds 2 or 3. Let's start with a local guy here in Colorado, LaVisca Chenault.
Je ne veux pas me prononcer, j'ai l'impression qu'il y a beaucoup moins de gens qui veulent la souveraineté du Québec. Est-ce que c'est parce qu'on est dans un bon moment économique? Je sais pas. Mais la réponse officielle, c'est oui. On parle encore d'indépendance, mais plus les gens parlent assez bien anglais, les gens sont bilingues, mais j'entends souvent des gens dire qu'au Québec, on est bilingue. Un peu comme moi, j'ai habité en Catalogne, les gens parlaient catalan et espagnol, mais c'est pas comme ça au Québec. C'est pas tout le monde qui parle bien anglais.
Versatile in that back for T. Higgins.
Yeah, Higgins, another physical receiver, though not really known as a great run blocker. But what he does have is that extreme catch radius. You know, Trevor Lawrence threw it up pretty much anywhere, and this guy Higgins is going to come get it. Led the team in touchdowns the last couple of years, has been really impressive. But I think relies on his athleticism so much that route running probably needs to improve here, Phil.
paella, qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est? Je dirais le bourguignon. Moi, je suis assez cuisine traditionnelle, hein. Donc le bœuf bourguignon. Ouais.
Quel est votre plat français préféré?
Oh là là, steak frites.
Steak et frites.
La raclette?
Alors maintenant, vous allez nous dire qu'est-ce que c'est la raclette, s'il vous plaît?
C'est un plat avec du fromage, des pommes de terre et du lardon.
Soit il y a un appareil raclette en rond où chacun met...
Terminated. That is the unfortunate but true word of the day. Welcome to Nothing Personal. Terminated, as in all employees of the Football League XFL, not the NFL, the Vince McMahon-owned XFL, the league that started with such great promise, great ratings, halfway through their 10-game season. There was a wait to see that they would actually make it through a full year, unlike the previous incarnation of I think it was the AFL. But in a conference call that just happened, all employees of the XFL were terminated. To his employees today, April 10th. I think it's April 10th, but I don't know. Yes, it's April 10th. Anyone else having a hard time knowing the day of the week and the date? All the days they end with Y. That's about all I know.
And I'm trying to figure out if it's the one on the private island or the one that he had set up on the Indian reservation.
No, Jerry cleared this up for me this morning. He said that 249 was at a undisclosed location. That's been canceled.
Dana White has postponed UFC 249. Remember back at the Old Nothing Personal when we talked about, is it halted? Is it postponed? Canceled? What's the word?
Dana White said he still plans on doing an event on this private island.
One taking place on Indian tribal land in California, the Tachi Palace, somewhere in California.
After trading DeAndre Hopkins to the Arizona Cardinals in mid-March, on Thursday, Houston acquires Brandon Cooks from the Rams. The deal, Cooks and a 2022nd fourth round pick.
You got to know that something's good going to happen, right? I mean, when you hear it, does it make you think of Schitt's Creek? Because it does. But here it comes. Ready? Wait for it. Hello?
2019 Fantasy Analyst of the Year, Jamie Eisberg, nobody better. Okay, this essentially becomes, when you look at all these deals for the Texans, they traded DeAndre Hopkins and they get back David Johnson, Brandon Cooks, and a fourth round pick. I've oversimplified it a little, but that's basically it.
Do UFC 249. But Bob, we want to be the first. We have everyone ready. It's totally safe. We've tested like every 10 people. We have gloves that only some of them have holes in it, and there's very little blood. I don't know if you know, but in UFC 248, it was perfectly fine. We only need one doctor, and he still has 2 years left of med school.
Of really trying to get a bunch of new players on the same page and being as dominant as they were. That's an underrated storyline for me. I got to be honest.
I got to tell you, you're right, BT, because we didn't expect it. We knew that they would be good, but I didn't think that they would lead from basically start to finish in the Western Conference. The LA Clippers felt like they were the better team. And
2020, Friday, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Did not see your mock draft before I said this. My staff, as a witness. I said last hour, 30 minutes ago, I said, don't be shocked if Miami doesn't take a quarterback.
X, what is it? What is it? It's like hitchhiking with your phone.
And then with one of their two other first-round picks, goes for Jordan Love, who is a developmental prospect, but they have Ryan Fitzpatrick for a year, so they can just sit him for a year and let him figure it out.
Groceries in the back? Baby seat next to you? With a baby? Loose popcorn on the floor? What's going on back here, guy? Are you on an errand? What is this?
I don't think it's nuts. I gotta be honest with you. Nobody's discussing this. Why do you haven't taken a tackle?
How long have you been doing Uber?
You get sucked in, and decision makers get sucked in and place too much importance on them. I couldn't agree with you more. Listen, pro days, in particular from a quarterback, you have to understand, and let me just describe this. I don't know if people really understand this, but coming out for the draft. So I had nobody to throw to. I had a couple of tight ends that were coming out, a running back that was coming out. If you remember, a guy named Lawrence Vickers was a fullback that was coming out. Two tight ends, Joe Klopfenstein and Quinn Stepniewski, who played for a little bit in the National Football League. But we had to pull guys that were just like NFL free agents at the time that were working out at this place called Velocity down the road, and I had to bring them out and throw to them. It was terrible.
Be getting ready and ask your wife, babe, you want me to drive? If you're Italian, you probably try and get like, well, you think we're going to get like a stretch or something like that?
more so trying to get your mind right. When the season's going to even start? When is training camp going to kick off? How fast things going to rev up? It's just a lot of things you got to constantly think through this time. It's not the first lockout type of deal that we've been through. So we all understand that, you got to be pros, you got to know how to handle it. But
me and Caitlin go through something fun like this to hopefully get a break from everything that's going on. So I appreciate everything and all the work that everybody's doing. And here goes nothing. Let's have some fun. So we're back. Forgot to mention Happy Good Friday to everybody in my previous post. But now that I had my coffee break and everything, Caitlin and I are getting in our workout for the morning. So this
is a little bit different. So I think it's probably stressing a lot of people out, get into football, then trying to help. That's going to be a lot of stress on a lot of people's plates.
That's really well said. Now you're in a division, when football does resume, you're in a division that faces the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes twice a year.
Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. We just got done with our walk around the neighborhood, and it's so nice that I wanted to go ahead and maybe set up a little layout time for myself. We got the gym in, and now it's time to get the tan in.
And now small businesses are facing red tape and delays when they apply for a portion of the $350 billion in the Paycheck Protection Program. Weijia Zhang joins us tonight from the White House. And Weijia, the president was talking about a date to restart the economy. Did he give a specific date?
Been in the league for quite a while. What do you know about a Vic Fangio defense?
I hear they get out of it, man. He got a lot of things up his sleeves. He brings the pressure. Zone scheme. It's going to be beautiful playing that type of defense. I've done it a lot. It's been my style of 3-4, and I'm just hoping he allow me to, put my little twist on how I do things in the game, and freak out his defense a little bit.
That he would certainly listen to his top medical experts if they tell him that is too early. But he added there are two sides to every argument.
Had previously partnered up with former Denver Bronco Wes Woodyard in coaching a women's flag football team.
So Friday, TurboCast 2020.
biggest decision I've ever had to make.
His top health officials urged caution.
We have not reached the peak. And so every day we need to continue to do what we did yesterday and the week before.
As the president decides when to relax social distancing guidelines, millions of business owners are counting on federal loans to survive.
Oh, yeah, whoa, a bunch of unqualified people have been making qualified statements telling you that he's the best guy since sliced bread.
I mean, that's not just unqualified people. I feel like that's a large range of everyone, right? It seems like there's a consensus that he is the best back in the class.
OPSATS is relying on the new Paycheck Protection Program to cover payroll for 8 weeks.
They heard that the funds will be released in the last half of April. Realistically, that's 2 to 3 weeks away, so we'll see.
CBS News obtained this message from Wells Fargo explaining loan delays due to high demand. They warned about limited funds that could run out.
Class.
Zach Moss out of Utah. You know, Zach Moss was one of the most fun watches of the group.
Here, the community banks, frankly, are the easiest ones in terms of getting the money out. So the money is getting out.
Not true, according to Rebecca Romero Rainey of the Independent Community Bankers of America.
I think he's probably got even better quickness than Marshawn Lynch did coming out. I'm not going to say he has the power or the long speed Marshawn Lynch had, but, you know, I could see that. That's a good one. I didn't think of that. You know, yeah, the names I wrote down, I wrote Lev Bell, Frank Gore, even Rashad Penny, who came out a few years ago.
Can take care of small businesses and get these loans funded.
Adding to the challenges, CBS News has learned the Small Business Administration has informed banks and lenders their website will be down for maintenance from midnight to 6 a.m. That is precious time as they work around the clock to try to find relief for businesses. Nora?
All right, Weijia, thank you so much.
J.K. Dobbins from Ohio State. You know, and again, this is a guy, you know, it's going to be a little bit of, you know, what do I want to see, beauty in the eye of the beholder. You know, again, like J.K. Dobbins might not suit a team like the Baltimore Ravens where they go, hey, we want to pull the guard and run it between a tackle, and we don't think he's that type of guy. Kyle Shanahan for the 49ers, he might go, damn, this guy's like Matt Breida.
April 11th, almost 7 p.m., Saturday night, 2020.
ball and he finds a seam and he goes downhill with it and he splits the whole defense and runs for a 70-yard touchdown.
On your 2020 draft prospect running back list?
Number 2, hold on, I'm reading my notes here. Sorry, I've totally just blanked out. I got to pick up my Jonathan Taylor. Holy shit.
But I would say I probably knew before the start of last season that it was my last year. And I tried to, I knew that, it was just, our time was coming to an end.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Your number 1 running back in the class of 2020?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And, honestly, Ahmed, I don't think it's close.
I feel like I want to prove to myself that I can still perform at the highest level.
All right, there's a lot to unpack there. A lot to unpack as well with Deion Sanders. I love the beard. Quarantined to 21st and prime. How are you, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Ladies, gentlemen, when you reach a point in a relationship, man, it's time to go. This is not productive anymore. This is not what it once used to be. I'm not happy coming here every day doing the things that we once.
Edwards-Helaire was by far the guy I marked as like the most impressive and most talented of the group. The home run hitter Jonathan Taylor or J.K. Dobbins are, Ahmed, but he is going to make more great 10 and 20 and 30-yard runs than anybody in this draft. I mean, his start-stop, re-accelerate ability is off the chart.
Because I really want to, I'm trying not to sound braggadocious, but I really try to say, guys like us, you don't care. The opinion that people have of you is not the opinion you have of yourself. Tom Brady's playing against Tom Brady. He's not playing against the league. He's playing against the challenges that he places in front of himself.
Decision until it happened, but I would say I probably knew before the start of the season that it was my last year. I knew that our time was coming to an end. Our time.
d'abord s'inscrire à la vente. Les 2 appartements, s'il vous plaît. Merci, madame. Pour tenter sa chance, le jeune homme doit laisser ce chèque de garantie au notaire. 12 800 € qu'il récupérera s'il perd les enchères.
Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. Hi, guys, on NFL Total Access, still wearing ties.
Whether you want to believe in coronavirus or not, it is real. And today, the United States passed the 10,000 coronavirus deaths.
I also got this, which I'm excited about. I just got it in. It's a glass spray bottle. I got it from Amazon so I can clean my leaves on my tree. If you saw earlier this week, I had cleaned one of them. It took me 30 minutes. And
Apparently, many deaths in the U.S. have been labeled as pneumonia or influenza when they were likely coronavirus.
If you want to know how to crank your testosterone naturally, swipe up and I'll show you.
DUIs, you can drop your auto insurance rate to as low as $19 a month. Swipe up and check the cheapest auto insurance rates in 60 seconds.
Butter and jelly. The that she made. Dope. So good. Look at all those peanuts. I hope you don't have peanut allergies.
Dana Whitworth went to a town called Washington City in Utah, where it's still business as usual for some.
The 405 in Los Angeles is utterly empty, yet the roads here in Southwest Utah are totally jam-packed.
Businesses still open. Hitting the links with friends. They feel like long-gone luxuries when so much of the country is locked down. But in Washington City,
Huge library of workouts that are going to keep you moving and motivated throughout this time. Enough of the details. Swipe up to join us on NTC Premium, and team, can't wait to see you in your first workout.
It's me, your father. Is it not? I'm just kidding. It's just me, Rat. Hi. Did you wash your hands today? All right, cool. Okay. Bye.
And she's buying her stairway to heaven.
Now 3:30 a.m. on April 13th, 2020, Monday morning. My parents met in Mississippi. My dad was a baseball player. favorite song I remember was everybody was kung fu fighting, and I used to dance and make my parents laugh and have fun. I remember the living room. I remember the little house that we had. Little kitchen that led to a little dining room, and there was a little living room right there, and then 3 bedrooms off to the right. First my room, then my sister, and then my mom's room, my parents' room, which I never even saw, I don't think. I still remember that room. You know, you don't go into your parents' room when you're a little kid. At least I didn't. Anyways, my daddy did love completely.
You don't feel like you want to wear masks or gloves?
No.
You feel safe?
Yeah, I do. We have hand sanitizer in the car and we're good. I feel safe. I mean, like, yeah, you don't touch your face, but like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you do anyways.
So you guys just invited me to come party with you?
Absolutely.
Are you partying like normal?
This is our routine.
Use the hashtag AskMelAndTide, and we will hopefully read your question on the air.
About the potential of them moving out. What they're doing, Wendy, is they're trying to get other teams to come up and give them a ridiculous deal because they know that Detroit is going to take a deal at number 3.
People enjoying lunch behind me in a group, they say that's different because they're not in a restaurant, but they're outside together. Behind me, you can see there's a cigar shop that is open for business, a nail salon where you can go get a manicure.
Yourself, education is a powerful tool.
But countywide, they only have 35 cases here and 1 death. Lacey Priest, who owns and operates a barbershop in neighboring St. George.
See, I think what Matt Patricia needs to do is start winning football games, get guys who can cover, be the Stephon Gilmore of this defense. That's what I think Jeff Okudah, cornerback from Ohio State, can be. If you have an opportunity to move down, take it. But if you're stuck at 3, you got to make a pick. No, Okudah, Todd would be the guy to take.
But countywide, they only have 35 cases here and 1 death. Lacey Priest, who owns and operates a barbershop in neighboring St. George, has stayed open for haircuts and beard trims and was concerned about.
We need to go on and live day to day still, you know, after this is all over and done with. There's still going to be life.
You have the Dolphins focusing on the offensive side of the ball, starting with drafting Alabama quarterback Tua Tagovailoa with the 5th overall pick. Here is a Tua fan on the Dolphins as a potential destination.
I agree.
City leaders encourage social distancing and only essential travel. Utah is one of 9 states without statewide shelter-at-home restrictions, but the governor has extended a stay-at-home directive to May 1st.
If you fly in, you'll do it at the airport. If you drive in, you'll receive a text message asking you to fill out this form. Government leaders want to know if you've had any symptoms, if you've been tested, and where you've been traveling. And the governor warns some people might have to be quarantined.
And talk us through the overall rules in Utah, because some cities in that state are locked down at this point.
It's Austin Winstead down here in Mobile, Alabama. Big fan of the program. Had a question for you. You think the Dolphins are going to still stick with Tua?
Why Justin Herbert, who has been clean through the process, has great physical athletic ability, super intelligent, had a good year, really good year, and great process. When you talk about what happened after the season, after he got out of Oregon and went to the Senior Bowl, then the Combine, then the Pro Day, I don't know how you can't believe.
All right, we take a look at the safeties in this year's draft class, and both of you have the same 3 players in the top 3.
Jennifer Davis, 752-3634. Then my forever actress muse, Jennifer Connelly, who I've ridden so many trips for. And then, of course, 24-hour Jennifer, who magically entered a place that I thought was off limits, that no one could find. I love Jennifers. I think they're angels, every single one of them. Guinevere's, Genevieve's. In any language, Jennifers are special, on special assignment to love and to be awesome. Jennifers are awesome. Thank you, Jennifer's been my life. What a great name, Jennifer.
Here is Xavier with a question.
What's up, Mel and Todd? This is Xavier McKinney, and I got a question for the both of you. So I've watched a lot of safeties in this year's draft, and so for Mel, I just want to ask, how am I not the number one safety in this year's draft based solely off of film, nothing else, just film? And for Todd, I want you to please explain to Mel why I am the number one safety in the draft based solely off of film, because film never lies, ever.
And yet I think America is still hanging together. Faith in our institutions is pretty good. There's nobody rioting in the streets. There's nobody looting. There's nobody saying we've got to do anything but what we've got to do, which is just hunker down.
And Mark, do you see the scaffolding in place, the infrastructure, whatever you want to call it, the support systems in place to help people at this moment?
Could be certainly a Pro Bowl caliber player, will be a first-round pick the way it looks right now. I think people now, when you go back, and as Xavier said, the tape does not lie. He's a heck of a football player, and like I said, in that, I'd say 17 to maybe late first-round range. Some like a little more. There's some that think he's one of the best.
I love the fact that he's watching tape now, and he's saying to you, hey, I love Winfield, that's great, but I'm better. I love that. Like
Well said, Mel. Still to come, by the way, on our SportsCenter special. Which late-round quarterback could become? At this point, he says, I'd be surprised if Ruggs wasn't the first wide receiver off the board. What's the highest you could see him going?
No, Judy, I think, ironically, it's Bernie Sanders' moment after that interview. I mean, if anything has laid bare the income inequality, the economic inequality and disparity in this country, beginning with healthcare. 10 million people, I don't know how many million of them have lost their health care in the last 3 weeks. But what Bernie Sanders talked about is laid bare before us right now. I will say what Dave, following up David's point about confidence growing, it is, but it's growing in an interesting way in governors, in mayors, in local government.